Laozi, a Chinese philosopher and sage, is traditionally seen as the founder of Taoism. His philosophy centers on the Tao, the way, which is the fundamental, ineffable principle behind all existence. The Tao is spontaneous, self-generating, and beyond rational comprehension. Rather than striving or imposing order, the Chinese sage advocated non-action or effortless action. This means flowing with the natural course of things instead of resisting it. Interference, ambition, and rigid structures tend to create disharmony. He was skeptical of strict laws, institutions, and artificial morality. True wisdom, he argued, comes from simplicity, humility, few needs, flexibility, and understanding and aligning with the way. The Chinese philosopher's thought invites stillness, balance, and reverence for the mystery of nature and being. His philosophy has been highly influential in China and elsewhere. Confucius, a Chinese philosopher and the founder of Confucianism, emphasized ethical living through harmony in human relationships. He believed social order begins with moral individuals, guided by humaneness and ritual propriety. His vision of a just society starts in the family and radiates outward. He placed great value on tradition and education, believing that studying ancient wisdom, especially old rites and texts, helps cultivate virtue. For the Chinese philosopher, being a noble person meant moral refinement and integrity. He taught that all people could improve through learning and reflection, and that we should cultivate virtues such as benevolence, righteousness, propriety, sincerity, and wisdom. His legacy helped shape East Asian culture, stressing moral leadership over coercion. Good government, he argued, depends not primarily on laws, but on virtuous rulers who inspire by example. Mozi was a Chinese philosopher who challenged both Confucian tradition and aristocratic privilege with a philosophy of universal love. He argued that society should extend impartial care to all, not just kin or neighbors, since partiality breeds conflict and injustice. He emphasized meritocracy and utility. For him, good actions are those that promote collective welfare, like economic sufficiency, population stability, and social order. He was also against wasteful rituals, extravagant funerals, and expensive music. The Chinese philosopher promoted a rational, compassionate worldview. He believed heaven wants righteousness and dislikes unrighteousness, and humans should follow objective standards to govern behavior. His doctrine aimed at peace and effective, ethical governance rooted in universal love. Mencius was a major Chinese philosopher and Confucian thinker who believed human nature is inherently good. He taught that everyone is born with moral sprouts, compassion, shame, respect, and the sense of right, which can grow through proper cultivation. He defended benevolent government, arguing that rulers should act like caring parents. If they fail to serve the people, they lose the mandate of heaven and may rightfully be overthrown. Moral authority, not force, is the foundation of political power. The Chinese philosopher expanded Confucian thought by emphasizing internal moral reflection. He viewed self-cultivation as a process of recovering one's true nature. He also offered sharp critiques of universal consequentialists and egoists, standing firm on the idea that virtue precedes utility and narrow self-interest. Zhuangzi was a Chinese philosopher and a major figure in Taoism. His thinking was provocative and playful, and he used paradoxes, parables, allegories, and anecdotes to convey his ideas. His perhaps most famous image is the dream of the butterfly, raising questions about what is real and what we can know about reality. He distrusted rigid thinking and fixed identities. For him, nature is in a constant flux and ceaseless transformation. Wisdom lies in embracing spontaneity, flowing with the Tao, and letting go of dogmatic judgments and attachments. The Chinese philosopher valued humor, freedom, spiritual enlightenment, quietness, taking no action, and inner tranquility. He saw sages as people who move with the world effortlessly, without being trapped by roles, ambitions, or doctrines. His work invites readers to laugh at exaggerated seriousness and accept change with grace. Xunzi was a Confucian thinker who took a strikingly different view from Mencius. He believed human nature is inherently bad. People are born selfish and unruly, he argued, and only through conscious effort can they become moral. For him, the key to goodness lies in external guidance, rituals, education, and law, not inner intuition. Left unchecked, desire leads to chaos. Civilization is a human creation, a structure to tame natural impulses. Despite his pessimism about nature, the Chinese philosopher upheld Confucian ideals. He emphasized learning, self-discipline, virtue, and social harmony. His thought deeply influenced the legalists, but his aim remained moral cultivation through culture, tradition, and rigorous training. Feizi was a Chinese philosopher, and perhaps the foremost theorist of legalism, a realist philosophy focused on power, law, and control. He believed most people are fundamentally self-interested and respond only to reward and punishment. Unlike Confucians, he rejected virtue as the basis for rule. Instead, he argued that the state must use strict laws, impersonal administration, and centralized authority to maintain order. According to legalism, laws should be written, uniform, and publicly proclaimed to the people. The Chinese philosopher's vision was pragmatic, amoral, and focused on stability and obedience. For him, the ruler must be strong and distant, relying not on morality, but on calculated systems of control to maintain order and stability. Xunzi, a Chinese philosopher, was one of the architects of Neo-Confucianism, blending Confucian ethics with metaphysical ideas from Taoism and Buddhism. He systematized Confucian thought around the great ultimate principle, material force, nature, the investigation of things, and humanity. According to him, principle is the universal, rational order behind all things, like a blueprint of nature and morality. To cultivate virtue, one must investigate the patterns of the world and one's own mind. The Chinese philosopher emphasized self-discipline, study of the classics, and meditation. His philosophy shaped Chinese education and civil service exams for centuries. He sought to restore Confucianism as a guide for both personal conduct and political action. Yangming, a Chinese philosopher and idealistic Neo-Confucian thinker, asserted that knowledge and action are united. He believed that moral truth lies within the heart-mind, not in external investigation. Wang taught that every person possesses innate moral knowledge. To act rightly, one must look inward and eliminate selfish desires that cloud this intuitive wisdom. The learning of the great person consists in loving the people and abiding in the highest good. His approach made Confucianism more introspective and accessible, emphasizing moral sincerity over bookish learning. The Chinese philosopher inspired many later reformers and thinkers with his stress on inner awareness and the unity of knowing and doing. Feng Youlan was a 20th century philosopher who sought to modernize Chinese philosophy by integrating traditional ideas with Western thought. Trained in both Confucianism and Western philosophy, he revived Neo-Confucianism in a new, systematic way. He distinguished between different spheres of life, natural, utilitarian, moral, and transcendent, and argued that all things go through the 4 stages of formation, flourish, decline, and destruction. He also emphasized the importance of self-cultivation, moral development, virtue, humanity, righteousness, propriety, wisdom, faithfulness, social and universal duty, and cosmic harmony, much like the ancients. The Chinese philosopher used modern philosophical tools to reinterpret Chinese classics, making them accessible and relevant. He played a crucial role in reviving Chinese intellectual traditions amid political and cultural upheaval, bridging East and West with clarity and depth.